Graduates, please rise. Everyone, please rise for the passing of the colors and the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
Thank you, Haley. Please be seated. Good afternoon to all those receiving degrees, their family and friends, our faculty, staff, and students. On behalf of Virginia Tech, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Spring 2023 graduate commencement exercise in this 152nd year of our university. I want to thank our governing body, the Virginia Tech Board of Visitors, led by Rector Letitia Long, for their leadership, support, and deep commitment to the university. Joining us here today are Robert Weiss, faculty representative to the board, and Jamal Ross, our undergraduate student representative. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the university's Board of Visitors. This has been a year of growth and change for our university and for our students. We have turned our attention from the celebration of our past to our vision for Virginia Tech's future. Our campuses are changing before our eyes. Our infrastructure is evolving. Our community is becoming more diverse, and our graduates are prepared to meet the challenges and opportunities of a changing world. Through this ceremony, we recognize your significant achievement and celebrate your talents, skills, and hard work. It's also important to note that these students would not have achieved their goals without the teaching, guidance, and mentorship of Virginia Tech's outstanding faculty. I would now like the faculty to please stand and be recognized. Just as crucial as the role of the faculty, the supporting cast of family, friends, and community members behind each graduate student deserve recognition. Would the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, partners, spouses, and children please stand up so we can congratulate you as well. Graduate students are important to the university's research, teaching, and engagement missions, and are able to earn degrees in Blacksburg at locations across the Commonwealth and online. During the winter and spring semesters, 1,030 students earned advanced degrees and certificates from an offering of 89 master's and 70 doctoral programs in 8 colleges. There are approximately 900 graduates here today. It is now my pleasure to present Virginia Tech's Executive Vice President and Provost, Dr. Cyril Clark.
Thank you. The faculty, deans, and academic administration of Virginia Tech take a great deal of pride in the accomplishment of our students and in supporting each of you in your journey to graduation. On behalf of our entire academic community, I congratulate you, and I am grateful for the opportunity to join you in your celebration of this milestone event. As Hokies who will carry forward the spirit of Ut Prosim into the next phase of your lives, you have the opportunity, and I would even say the responsibility, to use your skills and talents to positively impact our society, both locally and globally, and to advance the welfare of people around the world through education, knowledge, and advocacy. When Hokies combine capacity with compassion, we create a global community of people who can improve the world around us for everyone. When we combine the power of technology with talent, we create access to resources and relationships that bring us closer together. And when we combine education with empathy, we build systems and structures that can feed, clothe, cure, educate, and enlighten communities around the world today and for generations to come. Once again, congratulations on this momentous achievement, and I wish you the best of luck in your future, your personal and your professional endeavors. I would like now to introduce the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Amy Serpelmont.
Thank you. This spring, we have invited 3 graduate students to share some comments about their experiences. Modeled after the Nutshell Games hosted by the Virginia Tech Center for Communicating Science, each student will share a story in 90 seconds using one prop if they wish. I know you'll enjoy their reflections. Kayla Alward, who's earning a doctoral degree in dairy science, is our first speaker. She will be followed by Megan Van Spanja, who's earning a master's degree in forest resources and environmental conservation. Mohanan Elamud, who's earning a PhD in computer science, will be our final speaker.
Before joining Virginia Tech, I spent 6 years at the University of Georgia. 6 years forming relationships with the people around me. Coming here felt like starting over from scratch. I didn't know any students, and I didn't know if Blacksburg would ever feel like home. Then merely 6 months after I started, COVID hit. I was in the middle of conducting a research project where I housed cows on campus, right up the road at Chicken Hill. Housing 1,200-pound animals on campus requires a lot of work. I had over 26 undergraduate students employed to help with the daily feeding, cleaning, and care. But when the university decided that students were not allowed to return to campus after spring break due to COVID, I lost all of my help overnight. I had no idea how I was going to care for these animals by myself. So I sent an email to my department asking if anyone could please spare even one afternoon a week to please help me, and I was floored at the response. Not only did graduate students volunteer, staff and faculty members volunteered their time, coming out multiple times a week, sometimes multiple times a day to help me. These people helped me for months, asking nothing in return. This was truly the embodiment of what a Hokie is, someone who always helps those that are in need. I hope as we move on to our next chapter of life, we will remember to help those in need and remember that we have an entire community of people to turn to when we are in need. Thank you.
They asked me to speak about a transformational moment in my time here as a graduate student. But to be honest, my entire experience in graduate school has been transformative. I am a different person than I was starting out this journey that we've all embarked upon, and I am all the better for it. Most of this comes down to the community that we have here at Virginia Tech. Not once did I ever ask for help and not receive an answer from my advisor, who would say, you know, I don't know, but let's go find someone right now who does. To my fellow graduate students who voluntarily joined me on many a field site visit to collect hundreds of forest vegetation samples in the summer heat. I've had such highs here, from hiking the Triple Crown on weekends, to going to sporting events, to just enjoying the community of my department's Graduate Student Association. And I've also had some lows, like when the data I had been working on for 2 months failed and needed to be completely redone. But what I've learned is that's kind of just a part of research and a part of life. You fail, it's going to happen. But you figure it out, you collaborate, you try again. You keep going and you keep finding these new avenues. And that's the mentality I'm going to take forward from this experience in leaving here. That it's okay if you hit some bumps. It's okay if you're not 100% sure what the right next move is. Choose your next path and see how it goes. We are, all of us here, proof that it will work out. So keep exploring, Hokies.
So, I must admit, I'm a little nervous. I mean, you're not my toughest crowd, to be honest, because I've done stand-up comedy. My wife tells me it went well back then. I hope she wasn't just massaging my ego. Anyway, truth be told, my toughest moment as a speaker came when I stood in front of my first classroom as a teacher. I remember I was dressed up so nicely, like I'm going to a gala or something. In my mind, I thought I'm like this French intellectual with the hat and the scarf wearing like this. And it took me half an hour to figure out the projector system, so this is my feedback to the IT department as part of my exit interview. Anyway, so I had 5 minutes to spare, so I stood there, took a deep breath, and looked at the new faces that were coming into the class. And it hit me that I'm feeling nervous because I'm not used to standing on this side of the classroom. And I realized that maybe professors are not the gods we think they are, but just nervous feeling human beings like I'm feeling right now. So as a human receiving his PhD today, who will be helping other humans on their path to self-fulfillment, I want to take a moment to remind our graduates to be humble as they take their place in the circle of life. We're all learning, and we're all growing towards something. So please take your duty with a grain of modesty, sincerity, and kindness towards yourself and other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla, Megan, and Mohamed. We acknowledge the Tutelo-Monacan people who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live, and recognize their continuing connection to the land, water, and air that Virginia Tech consumes. We pay respect to the Tutelo-Monacan nations and to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I'd like to offer my sincere congratulations to all of the students who have fulfilled the requirements for a graduate degree at Virginia Tech. Many of our graduates have won fellowships or scholarships, awards and accolades, special recognitions throughout their programs, and have served the university in countless ways. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and thank you for being a part of the Virginia Tech graduate community. Please join me in a round of applause for all of our outstanding graduates. My first thought is, you made it. You made it through hardship, you made it through sorrow, you made it through many difficult circumstances. At the same time, you've thrived in your programs and have reached a high standard of excellence. I'm in awe of your strength and resilience. A graduate degree is both an incredible and impossible achievement that only a tiny fraction of individuals realize. It takes a powerful combination of intellectual aptitude, resilience, diligence, and support to complete. Now that you're finished, I hope you can take the time to reflect on and be proud of all of the hard work you've put into attaining this degree. I know we are proud of you, as are your supervisors, your mentors, your family, and your friends. All the hard work you put in, it matters. It means something. My biggest piece of advice for you is to determine what is most important in your life and always strive to keep that in focus. It may be family, friends, it may be a driving passion to study the stars, write a book, or run in a marathon. The important thing is that important thing may change over time, so make sure that you examine your priorities and continue to focus on those things that are important to you. Ask for lots of advice from lots of people, but in the end, make the decisions that are best for you, that will make you happy. It's your life. You must live it for you. Although we are worried about the future, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to be resilient. I believe in your sense of justice. I believe that you will make the world a better, more equitable place. Be well, be happy, be proud. You got this. Thank you for all you've taught me. Congratulations, class of 2023. My very best wishes to you all.
We will now begin the conferral of doctoral degrees. A very old and special a very old and special tradition in academia accompanies the presentation of the doctoral degree. The doctoral candidate and the student's major advisor, the advisor who most mentored and supervised the student's research, walk together to the stage where the advisor places the hood over the head of the graduate. By hooding the graduate, the faculty member symbolically welcomes the graduate as a professional colleague, and the professional relationship and friendship often continues throughout the graduate's and the mentor's lives.
Will all the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education degrees please rise? President Sands, I have the honor to present the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and the Doctor of Education degrees.
With the power vested in me by the Board of Visitors in the Commonwealth of Virginia and upon recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education degrees to which you are entitled, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please be seated. Will the marshals please escort the candidates for the doctoral degrees and their major professors to the stage for the hooding ceremony? Dr. Joseph Marola will read the names of the doctoral recipients and the hooding professors.
Receiving the Doctor of Philosophy from the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences in Agricultural and Extension Education, Eric Scott Bentfeld, hooded by Professor Kim Niwolny. Fatima Zara Kebe, hooded by Professor Hannah Scherer. Lana Petrie, hooded by Professor Rick Rudd. In Animal and Poultry Sciences, Stefania Pansini, hooded by Professor Vitor Mercadante. Savannah Speckhart, hooded by Professor Alan Ely. In Animal Science, Dairy, Kayla J. Alward, hooded by Professor Rebecca Cockram. In Biochemistry, Japang Liu, hooded by Professor Michael Kelmba. Nicole Elizabeth Wynn, hooded by Professor Clement Wienager. In Crop and Soil Environmental Sciences, Sapana Pokral, hooded by Professor Rory Maguire. In Economics, Agriculture, and Life Sciences, Anj T. Capo, hooded by Professor Matt Holt. Yangchan Wang, hooded by Professor Matt Holt. In entomology, Bradley David Olinger, hooded by Professor Margaret Cuvilon and Professor Roger Church. In food science and technology, Martha Diane Calvert, hooded by Professor Jacob Lon. What's the department? Molly, Catherine, Erica, where's Rachel? Okay. Claire Margaret Murphy, hooded by Professor Laura Strawn. In human nutrition, foods, and exercise, Erica Marie Howes, hooded by Professor Valisa Hedrick. Molly Catherine Parker, hooded by Professor Valisa Hedrick. Rachel Antoinette Leby, hooded by Professor Sarah Misiak. Azine Rose Porcalili, hooded by Professor Carlin Raffi. From the College of Architecture, Arts and Design in Environmental Design and Planning, Daniel Antonio Linares Garcia, hooded by Professor Nazila Rufigari Esfahan. In Planning, Governance, and Globalization, Sung-Bi Choi, hooded by Professor Mel Jones. In Public Administration and Public Affairs, Rabita Rashmin Bani, hooded by Professor Karen Holt. From the Pamplin College of Business, in Business, Executive Business Research, Beatriz Lopez Bonetti, hooded by Professor Mario Pandolari. In Business, Hospitality, and Tourism Management, Simone Bianco, hooded by Professor Manisha Singhal and Professor Florian Zak. James Elias Rod, hooded by Professor Juan Luis Nicolau. In Business Management, Ju Hyung Jin, hooded by Professor David Townsend. Parul Manocha, hooded by Professor Richard Hunt. In Business Marketing, Myo Jung Kim, hooded by Professor Mario Pandolari. Yu Hang Lai, hooded by Professor Rajesh Bagchi. From the College of Engineering, in Aerospace Engineering, Aditya Sudhindra Acharya, hooded by Professor Todd Lowe and Professor Wing Ng. Pranav Sanjay Borwankar, hooded by Professor Rakesh Kapania. Siddhant Pratikumar Desai, hooded by Professor Joseph Schetz and Professor Rakesh Kapania. Julie Elizabeth Deutsch-Patel, hooded by Professor William Davenport. Jean-Michel Walid Fahmy, hooded by Professor Craig Woolsey. Aldo Gargiulo, hooded by Professor Todd Lowe and Professor Christopher Roy. Bradley Scott Gobin, hooded by Professor Gregory Young. Rikin Gupta, hooded by Professor Rakesh Kapania. Ali Hassani, hooded by Professor Mathieu Georger. Nicholas Alexander Husser, hooded by Professor Stefano Brizolara. Christopher Scott Creer, hooded by Professor Scott England. Yuji Lee, hooded by Professor Bhuvana Srinivasan. Lakshmi Madhavan Miller, hooded by Professor Stefano Brizolara. Nandita Norani Hari, hooded by Professor William Davenport. Christopher Thomas Olszewski, hooded by Professor Todd Lowe and Professor Wing Yang. Sean William Powers, hooded by Professor Todd Lowe and Professor Joseph Schetz. John Anthony Schaefer, hooded by Professor Chris Roy. Jun Hyun Seo, hooded by Professor Rakesh Kapania. Benjamin Mason Simmons, hooded by Professor Craig Woolsey. Randy Lee Spicer, hooded by Professor Jonathan Black. Carson Owen Squibb, hooded by Professor Michael Fillin. In biological systems engineering, Munir Ahmad and daughter, hooded by Professor Dwayne Edwards. Rana Ahmed Kir Ganedi, hooded by Professor Jakton Argo Ogejo. Roja Kaveh Garna, hooded by Professor Zachary Easton. Hannah Elizabeth Patton, hooded by Professor Leanne Chromatis and Professor Emily Sarver. Laljit Singh Sangha, hooded by Professor Julie Shortridge. Mina Shahed Beiruz, hooded by Professor David Sample. In biomedical engineering, Kenneth N. Aycock, hooded by Professor Rafael Davalos. Candace E. Donaldson, hooded by Professor Rafaela De Vita. Allison Jean Gettler, hooded by Professor Warren Hardy. Zareen Mazabin Khan, hooded by Professor Scott Verbridge and Professor Eli Vlasevich. Chitra Meduri, hooded by Professor Vincent Wang. Caroline Nicole Norris, hooded by Professor Pamela Vandevoort. Adam James Novotny, hooded by Professor Zachary Dorzaf. Lauren Nicole Ruger, hooded by Professor Eli Vlasevich. In chemical engineering, Saeed Bezadinasab, hooded by Professor William Ducker. Arit Das, hooded by Professor Michael Bortner. Zhui Han, hooded by Professor Hong Jiangjin. Xian Yu Mu, hooded by Professor Hong Lian Jin. In civil engineering, Mirla Abi Ad, hooded by Professor Montasir Abbas. Riham Krawish Abu Seme, hooded by Professor John Little. Yu Fei Ao, hooded by Professor Landon Marston. Matthew Forrest Blair, hooded by Professor Amy Pruden. Nicola Carmine Brilli, hooded by Professor Alba Hierro Colom. Ryan Patrick Costello, hooded by Professor John Little. Abraham Charles Cullum, hooded by Professor Amy Pruden and Professor Mark Edwards. Juanik Ju, hooded by Professor Sharif Abdelaziz. Rebecca Boyce Chris, hooded by Professor Mark Edwards. Krista Margareta Ligori, hooded by Professor Amy Pruden. Fang Yu Liu, hooded by Professor what's her name? Susan Huddle. Ayala Zorka Miley Moskowitz, hooded by Professor Peter Weichsland and Professor Amy Pruden. An Chi Nguyen, hooded by Professor Michael Garvin. Mihir Rimja, hooded by Professor Antonio Trani and Professor Susan Hottle. Martin Scavone LaSalle, hooded by Professor Gerardo Flinch. Sayed Morteza Zainali, hooded by Professor Sharif Abdalaziz. In computer engineering, Bador Ahmed Shamlan Al-Bahar, hooded by Professor Lynn Abbott. Hadil Ahmad Al-Bahar, hooded by Professor Ali Boot. Madhava Krishnan Ramanathan, hooded by Professor Ali Boot. Keixiang Zhang, hooded by Professor Yaling Yang. Yu Zhang, hooded by Professor Michael Xiao. In computer science and applications, Asma Ayed S. Aldris, hooded by Professor Dennis Grachinen. Mohanad El-Hamod, hooded by Professor Anuj Karpatni. Akash Gautam, hooded by Professor Deborah Tatar. Arash Sarshar, hooded by Professor Adrian Sandhu. Chadani Shrestha, hooded by Professor Deborah Tatar. Sukrit Venkatagiri, hooded by Professor Kurt Luther. Xin Yu Wang, hooded by Professor Edward Fox. In electrical engineering, Benjamin Adams Biggs, hooded by Professor Daniel Stillwell. Saswati Das, hooded by Professor Scott Bailey. Robert Thomas Stockland, hooded by Professor Gary Brown. In engineering education, Joshua Alexi Garcia Sheridan, hooded by Professor Jacob Groves. Taylor Courtney Leitner, hooded by Professor Jeremy London and Professor Walter Lee. Amy Jo Richardson, hooded by Professor David Knight. In engineering mechanics, Joshua T. Fitzgerald, hooded by Professor Shane Ross. Michael Joseph Gangi, hooded by Professor Scott Case. Ryan Jeffrey Lane, hooded by Professor John Duke. Syed Ahmad Masroor, hooded by Professor Mark Stremler. Hyungong Park, hooded by Professor Jonathan Boreko and Professor David Schmally. Talia M. Weiss, hooded by Professor Jake Socha. In environmental design and planning, Nihar James Gonsalves, hooded by Professor Abiola Akanmu. Yimin Chin, hooded by Professor Tanyel Bolbo. In industrial and systems engineering, Maide Maftoni, hooded by Professor James Kong. Alexandria Ida Rossi Alvarez, hooded by Professor Shelia Clower. Melissa Christine Tilashowski, hooded by Professor Kimberly Ellis and Professor Leanna House. Satyajit Abai Upasni, hooded by Professor James Kong. Rongshon Wong, hooded by Professor Zhen Yu Kong. In materials science and engineering, Cody Wade Hammock, hooded by Professor Levon Asrian. Ziqi Zhao, hooded by Professor Zhanming Bai. In mechanical engineering, a wife and husband earning their doctoral degrees together. Sheda Davaria and Mostafa Motahada Bidgoli, hooded by Professor Pablo Tarazaga. Arpit Kumar Agrawal, hooded by Professor Michael Bartlett. Jonathan Charleston, hooded by Professor Michael Bartlett. Hongshan Chen, hooded by Professor Ling Li. Jifei Dang, hooded by Professor Ling Li. Sandeep Shankarawal Hate, hooded by Professor Rafael Davalos. Bhavi Bharat Kota, hooded by Professor Lynn Abbott. Ashkan Nazari, also receiving a Master of Science in Computer Science and Applications, hooded by Professor Saeed Taheri. Arul Murugan Sentilnathan, hooded by Professor Pinar Akar. Meran Yaramadi, hooded by Professor Bob Mahan. Sei Zhang, hooded by Professor Saeed Tahiri. In mining engineering, Sitare Gichi Afruz, hooded by Professor Eric Westman. Wei Liu, hooded by Professor Bill Huckle. Charles Stewart Schlosser, hooded by Professor Nino Repepi. Chad Michael Seacrest, hooded by Professor Eric Westman. Paul Raymond Hurley, hooded by Professor Yang Liu. From the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences in Counselor Education, Jordan Baylor Westcott, hooded by Professor Matthew Fullen. In Curriculum and Instruction, Monira Abdulrahman Alduwadej, hooded by Professor Barbara Lockie. Rebecca Michelle Clark, hooded by Professor Barbara Lockie. Anna Elizabeth Camback, hooded by Professor Donna Fortune. Gerald Miranda Milner, hooded by Professor Joseph Mukuni. Kenya Mahogany Motley, hooded by Professor Marcus Weaver Hightower and Professor Donna Fortune. Kongze Zhu, hooded by Professor Jesse Wilkins. In Educational Research and Evaluation, Mengyun Lee, hooded by Professor David Neola. In Higher Education, Ian James Anderson, hooded by Professor Claire Robbins. Catherine Lynn Katrupi, hooded by Professor Claire Robbins. Natalie Carolina Huggins de Murzi, hooded by Professor Tonisha Lane and Professor Holly Matusevich. In Human Development, Candy Lynn Beers, hooded by Professor April Few Demo. Stephanie Cheyenne Cook, hooded by Professor April Few Demo. Denisha Shanae Scott Poe, hooded by Professor Megan Dolben McNabb. In Planning, Governance, and Globalization, Rachel Victoria Gabriel, hooded by Professor Sharon Tomer. In Rhetoric and Writing, Amelia Natasha Evans, hooded by Professor Derek Mueller. Michelle Martin Wegnon, hooded by Professor Chris Lindgren. In Science and Technology Studies, Natalia Dubchak-Brantley, hooded by Professor Rebecca Hester and Professor Aaron Brantley. Alice Quinn Fox, hooded by Professor Saul Helfand. In Social, Political, Ethical, and Cultural Thought, Sarah Elizabeth Wenger, hooded by Professor Christine Lebowski. In Sociology, George Robert Still, hooded by Professor Sarah Ovink. From the College of Natural Resources, in Fisheries and Wildlife, Houston Cawthorn Chandler, hooded by Professor Carola Haas. In Forestry and Forest Products, Iki Yanita Ristanti, hooded by Professor Charles Frazier. In Geospatial and Environmental Analysis, Iris Ikau Mensima Finn, hooded by Professor James Campbell. From the College of Science, in Biological Sciences, Carolina Alejandra Martinez Gutierrez, hooded by Professor Frank Aylward. Kristen Alexandra Bretz, hooded by Professor Erin Hotchkiss. Chloe Ellen Moore, hooded by Professor Myrtle Mims. Stephen James Plant, hooded by Professor Aaron Hotchkiss. In Chemistry, Hanan Suleiman Al-Mohim, hooded by Professor Paul Carlier. Hanan Nasser Al-Mutsaini, hooded by Professor Michael Schultz. Jonathan Bowen, hooded by Professor Webster Santos. Joe Paul Matthew, hooded by Professor Paul Carlier. Stephanie Lee Spence, hooded by Professor Webster Santos. Jumang Ju, hooded by Professor John Matson. In Economics, Aisha Dwibedi, hooded by Professor Cheryl Ball. Asal Pilavari, hooded by Professor Xu Lin. In geosciences, Amin Abbasi Bagbadorani, hooded by Professor John Hull. Sonam Futi Sherpa, hooded by Professor Manucher Shirzai. In mathematics, Sarah Therese Kerrigan, hooded by Professor Anderson Norton. Juan Francisco Romera Acosta, hooded by Professor Ivandur Ari Paulson. Daniel William Valvo, hooded by Professor Gretchen Matthews. In physics, Tulasi Prasad Subedi, hooded by Professor Jonathan Link. Fei Zhuang, hooded by Professor Jonathan Link. In statistics, Ryan Beck Christensen, hooded by Professor Robert Gramercy. Annie Elizabeth Sauer, hooded by Professor Robert Gramercy. Fu Rong Sun, hooded by Professor Robert Gramercy. From the Virginia Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine, in biomedical and veterinary sciences, Alessandra Francini, hooded by Professor Sunshine Lammers. Valentina Beatriz Stevenson Salinas, hooded by Professor William Huckle and Professor Tanya Leroy. In interdisciplinary doctoral degrees in genetics, bioinformatics, and computational biology, Marcela Aguilera Johnson, hooded by Professor Boris Vinatzer. Bela Haifa Karonisa, hooded by Professor Biswarup Mukhopadhyay. In individual interdisciplinary PhDs, Disha Sardana, hooded by Professor Gregory Earle. In macromolecular science and engineering, Disha Sardana, hooded by Professor Gregory Earle. We're going to stick with the individual interdisciplinary PhD level right now, and a small glitch, but this person still absolutely needs her time in the sun. Caroline Finley Branscombe, hooded by Professor Doug Cannon. Now in macromolecular science and engineering, Caton D. Feller, hooded by Professor Christopher Williams. Tiffany Nakia Thompson, hooded by Professor Michael Schultz. In Translational Biology, Medicine, and Health, Allison Nicole Castaneda, hooded by Professor Stephen Polzing. William Hugh Kraft III, hooded by Professor Warren Bickle. Purna Goswami, hooded by Professor Andrea Bertke. Fernanda Guillaume Correa, hooded by Professor Pamela Vandervoort. Demisha Danae Lasha Porter, hooded by Professor Paul Morton. Devin Christine Tomlinson, hooded by Professor Warren Bickle. From the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences, receiving the Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership and Policy Studies, Corinne Matthias Botch, hooded by Professor Jody Brinkman. Terry Clark Bro, hooded by Professor Jody Brinkman. Victoria Marie Finnegan Copen, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. James Terrell Harris, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Stacy Lee Heltz, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Tori Alicia Jacob Sumbry, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. David Richard Jarman, hooded by Professor Jody Brinkman. Kristen Rachel Lazenby Rankin, hooded by Professor Jody Brinkman. Lisa Renard Spicer, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Catherine Irene Schaefer, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Natia Keem Smith, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Irene Patricia Winchester, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Amanda Collins Zayatz, hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Cecil Avery Jr., hooded by Professor Carol Cash. Receiving a Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science and Applications, Ji Bu, hooded by Professor Anij Karpatny. In Education, Curriculum and Instruction, Jewel Ultimus, hooded by Professor Bradley Bowen. In Computer Science and Applications, Zi Chan Song, hooded by Professor Edward Fox. In chemical engineering, Malik Ali Albrahim, hooded by Professor Ayman Karim. In sociology, Lila Byers, hooded by Professor Anthony Kwame Harrison. In animal and poultry science, Taylor McFadden, hooded by Professor Timothy Jerome. In genetics, bioinformatics, and computational biology, Amanda Sharp, hooded by Professor Ann Brown. In engineering education, Kuala Ketchum, hooded by Professor Homero Murzi and Professor Marie Peretti. Benjamin Goldschneider, hooded by Professor Nicole Pitterson. In biomedical engineering, Morgan Dean, hooded by Professor Luke Reidinger. Michael Teeter, hooded by Professor Robin Queen. In human development, Samantha Simpson, hooded by Professor Erica Grafsley. And in electrical engineering, Ahmed Salah Nabi Ahmed, hooded by Professor Bill Huckle. You may have the podiums.
Congratulations! Will all the candidates for master's degrees please rise? President Sands, I have the honor to present the candidates for master's degrees.
With the power vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the Commonwealth of Virginia, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the master's degrees to which you are entitled with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please be seated. Will the marshals please escort the candidates for master's degrees to the stage? At this time, Dr. Casey Myers and Dr. Marola will read the names of the master's degree recipients.
Where's the card? Where's the card? Jalen Munson. Lena M. Byram. Sarthak Kehalia. Aman Saraf. Sarthak Vinayaka. Priyanishi Sharma. Riya Sakana. Rama Pranamiti. Mayor Defni. Shantanu Diori. Adita Sanjay Sarin. Oh. Sai Krishna Pravnan Sura Tej Meda. Mehul Banshuru-Shli. Megan Spires. Jade Detweiler. Emily Steffel. Jane Cayetano. Jacob McDaniel. Mahar Samir Gate. Akash Sonth. Danush Dinish. Truett Elliott. Muhammad Ajlan. Sandra Benoy. Abel Xavier Peter. Vidhi Thakur. Rishikesh Butley. Andrew Michael Barrett. Aaron Guffrey. Hyla Almusned. Zachary Ruddle. Angie Orange. Abushar Hoke. Maria Jose Uraib Coletta. Hirva Bagdat. Tanya Jain. Divanish Mishra. Nishanat Tekchandani. Ian Larson. Rachel Sandri. Corey Salmon. Jashwant Vimalapide. Darusha Kakararlapudi. Afron Andrew. Caitlin Terrio. Brianna Kincaid. Sahir Kumar. Shana Garg. Sarah Phillips. Ryan Durham. Dan Wade. Noah James Ethrith. Tyler Stein. Evan Snodgrass. Lauren Marie Woods. Peace Nachuku. Kudranil Chowdhury. Scott Frampton. Nadia Berbig. Dylan Pearson. Stephen Joseph Dooley. Alyssa Shelby Miller. Sydney Ashley May. Yogesh Ranjan Deshampanti. Fulan Lee. Anusha Prasad. Oh, we're behind with it? Claire Hudson. Bailey Doan. Molly Ryan. Shida Karachale. Muhammad Anis. Seth Herndon. Alyssa Selhorst. Talak Meland. Yash Parmar. Purva Ashuri. Kushik Panchal. Sahil Mehta. Harshadeep Katmaneri. Karen Gonzalez. Jessica Allen. June Choi. Yashavi Anchanta. Leslie Day. Casey Marie Owen. Sarah Forberger. Meredith Ann Tedson. Elizabeth Pop. Madison Delaney Talbot. Olivia Ann Din. Jennifer Miller. Caitlin Chu Capone. Alyssa Adriana Ruithi. Andrew Vo. Charles Ridgely Arnold. Robert Scott Schickling. Christopher James Acito. Massimo Andrea Arlusi. Sarisha Sechan Josie. Okay. Sarah Mohammed Abtab. Ian Robert Moore. Matthew Tyler Nanny. Cullen Fisher. Thomas Bogger. Tori Liebrand. Vinny Abuzik. Obina James Nora. Jake Martin. Nicole Brianna Peak. Bram Lorenzo Goldstein. Victoria Cabrera. Vania Pick Shea. Logan Hirsch Edwards. Jonathan Diaz Ramos. Aja Lee Bywater. Cameron Grace Cook. Aislinn Guiney. Jordan Aileen Allen. Isabel Maria Hazer. Amiti Bananor. Kyle Garrett Cromody. Josh Adelman. Ashlyn McDonald. Jennifer Spucker. Cameron Gard. Lindsay Michelle Herman. Brandon Parker. Emily Henson. Ali Salerno. Isaac Joshua Barona. Evan Clark. Zaim Zaman. Jadiah Kafai. Evan James Allen. Joanne Tang. Radhika and Andrew Lacknar. Shera Amit Bandari. Sporthi Aradi Shurish. Sandeep Arabelli. Yatish Prakash. Mohammed Hussein Noor Muhammad. Harmanth Ramesh. Kaushik Janison. Jacqueline Gravera. Tyler Cardenas. Sarah Ahern Church. Tanner Glass. Rachel Erin Julius. Elizabeth King. Vimal Kumar Badakamar. Shirir Raja. Nirmal Amir Thalagam. Dajisakar Chemaprakash. Rafael Chantos. Brooke Masada Maple. Matt Ortiz. Jalen White. Teresa Anvu Wilson. Jordan Shorey. Brittany DeJane Rasmussen. Nolan Shea Anderson. Maricha Trujillo. Carl Nicholas. Jim Roth. Chris Latman. Cole Bristow. Hannah Rochelle Landers. Connor Loden. Lauren Nicole Gilbert. Amy Jessica Walford. Brianna Joy Wilson. Brianna Ray Schramm. Natalie Rios. Hunter Greer Hutton. Dia. Caitlin Couch. Katie Hahn. Christy Pius. Xiaojin Han. Diego Alejandro Espinoza. Amir Bigdelli. Mina Hani Schwaki. Sharon Pedraza. Reina Duchess Lanier. Amanda K. Hodes. Rebecca Ann Schmidt. Molly Cardenas. Allison Tice. Caitlin O'Hanlon. Callie Elizabeth Bengen. Madison Backer. Courtney Savannah Brooks. Lauren Burns. Skylar Bowman. Mira Warritz. Erica Diamond. Taylor Moore. Emily Alice Ober Chanot. Logan Teal Swearingen. Rijal Shalish Patel. Corbin Robert Linderink. Michaela Carr. Wee Hong. Megan Smith. Catherine Dodd Partington. Sarah Elizabeth Questenberry. Tanisha France. Sarah Elizabeth Messer. Prayati Dutta. Nisha Marial Radhakarshanan. Maxwell Michael Stites. Janilda Baja. Joan Payette Perez Lozano. Abrar Ryan. Benjamin Gerald Zook. John Lawrence Costello. Zach Whalen. James Graziano. Rachel Johnson. Chelsea Abigail Richards. Kayla Elizabeth Weigel. Dojin Lee. Maria Angelica Mercado Salin. Jack Orbolino. Kenneth Mitchell Powell. Carrie Ann Mack Stewart. Amanda Sheps. Julia Claire Versace. Maddie Lepore. Sarah Whittington. Aaron Ackerman. Katie Kirkpatrick. Mintu Tran. Cassie Small. Sarah Page Byram. Gabriella Maria Chambers. Maya Apel. McKinley Winans. Livy Irwin. Sierra Bennett. Haley Rosetta Crabtree. Reagan Keel. Gina Nicole DeLeo. Madison Ann Walther. Dean McDonough. Beth Marsico. Isabella Woods. Fatima Kaiser Rana. Carmen Horner. Anne Mary Antonis. Lauren Clausen. Anna Ruth Schwenker. Brendan Elliott Arnold. Jessica Meredith Wilkes. Isabel Mahachko. Noah Wade Showalter. Logan Shepard. Colby Johnson. Patrick Kane. Brett Browdy. Jenna Natalie Kay. Grace Fisher. Sean Rolensick. Dylan Chai. Trevor Carlin. Marta Perez Vidal Rebounds. Aaron Opoku. Justin Vita. Anditiva Podel. Anvita Nachiyampan. Abigail Francis Chin. Manju Hagade. Grant Bailey. Amanda Dean. Bethany Page Stewart. Okay. Miranda Rose Christie. Jessica Neary. Sahil Hamal. Deepthi Suresh. Aparna Ganesh. Nelson Grant Carroll. Daryl Choppy II. Naget Simban. Huang Thi Ni Nguyen. Jason Gill. Brianna Vasquez. Jenna Kelly Asiska. Robin Hanson. Tyona Scott. Georgie Maria Wilson. Anila Kishwar Taranam. Megan Snyder. Riley Rosenberger. Maddie Dabisha. Margaret Ribardo. Jonathan Spalding. Gabrielle Christine Johnson. Darlene Riley Burnett. Heather Eileen Smith Simpson. China Shade Murphy. James Austin Whittlesey. Tyler Anton Gorney. Paul Taylor II. Seraphin Sacco Archie. Wendy A. Hicks. Dana Michelle Cadena Horn. Jessica Alfred Hudson. Matthew Wise. Austin Jones. Brent Miller. Tyler McCauley. Richard Rosenfeld. Adrian John Pisano. Nina Harding. Eric Anker. Dustin Brooks Liskey. Kevin Alwyn Miller. DeQuinn Allen Newton. Brandon Lee Hazelwood. Kristen Lee Gross. Diana Whitney. Christina Rosa Castender.
Hamidreza Talafian. Adam Robert Priest. Sarah Elizabeth Wright. Kishore Harihara Subramoni. Ash Van Winkle. Spencer Stone. Arash Nazari. Joseph Gopiao. Andrew Joseph Galloway. Mariette Brink Metry. Peyton Tyler Helbert. Diego Arana. Daniel Fernandez. Shankar Raj. Sheru Satisa Panikar. Nicholas Boardman. Whitney Spangler. Melissa D. Nipper. Helen Nicole Olson. Carlos Eduardo Oriana. Tigisti Feshe Tedla. Nitish Ranjan. Ryan Bermudez Cruz. Michael Andrew Cowpert. Eduardo Jose Malinowski. Walter James Tatera. Jason Michael Butler. John Michael Kukowski. Christopher Clinton Bradner. Julia Dogan. Patrick Torsha. Elizabeth Christman. Yu Chen Feng. Yu Ching Lin. Xiao Shan Chen. Ryan Yi Yan Liu. Brogan Holcomb. Sarah Elizabeth Patton. Suman Mondal. Simant Shrestha. Adwait Pradhan, Suhani Kurana, Ameya Sanjeev Halur, Varun Gantasala, Pratijay Guha, Abhinav Sethi, Akriti Saini, Komal Gupta, Divyansh Babel, Monish Sanjay Kedambadi, Prakar Sa, Harrison Outtree, Will Tysinger, George Stanley, Rebecca Catherine Nardacci, Benjamin Frederick Winter, Rebecca Cassie Naraf, Harrison Jane, Anna Elizabeth Haynes, Alex Miller, Valeria Lebron Berrios, Nicole Fontenot, Jack Taylor Sloan, Savannah Gregg, Luke Edward Minton, Shi-Chi Chen, Kuo Hao Lai, Yuan Ma, Ting Jui Su, Avi Seth, Connor Segal, Ryan M. Oubre, Henry G. Tim Su, Tanner Barnes, Cameron Fraser, Marina Harris, Reza Salman, Surya Brahma, Quentin Christopher Prier, Jaris Suleiman Farhan Fakouri, Trevor Miller, Naga Sanjana Bikonda, Diana Amabili, Lauren Rachel Chapman, Jessica Mywin Hall, Mylin Huang Lei, Catherine Hui, Gwyneth Schlor, Molly Maranto, Emma Sparks, Brian Bell, Sean Gruber, Ryan Wood, Gunnar William Reisky, Gracie Chandler Anderson. Ryan Okuda. Emily Malis. Muad Ait Taleb Ali. Andrew Joseph DeMarco. Tomek Gradsky. Savannah Catherine Lumpkin. Greg Margraf. Guanghui Wang. Wenjun Han. Jomara Beatriz Robles Guerrero. Sarah Mabel Roble Guerrero. Jillian Rose Dorr. Ashley Grace Wood. Reagan Tobias. Taylor Berkeley. Grace Kutzinger. Daniel Owens. Amelia Christine Gay. Bonnie Taylor DeWorkin. Andrew Grant. Jessica Claire Beggs. Natalie Ann Heflin. Savannah Grace Jacobson. Andrew James Denton. Craig Warmack Jr. Sarab Jacob Kurivilla. Vinayuk Shiva Kumar. Erbunoluwa Orladipur. Mohammed Shadab Sadiq Shaikh. Ashik Ajayanthopil. Sydney E. Dayani. Hunter Allen. Krista Noe. Nick Alford. Catherine Elaine Lasky. Thomas Joseph Cummins. Isabella Louise Kitts. Jillian Donahue. Kathy Strong. Nikita Marie Parrish. Terrell Dwayne Dodson. Unli Dupre. Kaya Wodesik. Sarah Gray Dishman. Stephen Morone. Shreyas Sanjay Bora. Sejal Narendra Chowdhury. Varad Pramod Tole. Namita Chandushekar. Diana Felice Schmidt. Sierra Linan Smith. Ahmed Oladeo Garba. Miriam Shani Ruhinda. G. Taylor Harrison. Kalin Leahy. Thomas Miller. Elisa Harmon. Taylor Frisbee. Brendan O'Keefe. Caroline Toddy Marcis. Liv Wisniewski. Joseph Lee Gerdes. Gabrielle Renee Kinney. Jane Ann Barclift. Jessica Sophie. Emma Catherine Swainston. Anubhav Nanda. Anshika Tyagi. Akshay Kumar Gopal Krishna Gatani. Neha Surana. Hait Mahesh Veera. Priyanka Savla. Naveen Gupta. Andrea L. Schumann. Chandan Kumar Sinha. Benedict Isaac. Shima Talal Mufti. Keith Myberg. Clint Austin Lanham. Blake Alexander Norris. Aaron Jancy. Danielle Doughton. Susan Liu. Allie Marie Hutchison. Mohammed Mamunur Rashid. Andrew Wolstetter. Ruba Ahmed Radif. Chloe Abi Antun. Alejandro Rodriguez Gil. Ashley Hillen. Siva Krishna Vatikonda. Sai Vamshidhar Reddy Kondreddy. Shiva Marut Alapati. Anushka Vyas. Rohan Singh Lika. Michael A. Poor. Tyler Brown. Brant McKinney. Evan Fox. Ali Hartwick. Jenna Elena Brummond. Tyrone John Boyce Jr.
Kit Friedman. Logan Dickinson. Isabel Ibanez. Kathleen Ambrose. Carrie Mosser. Colin Girardi. Mary Zimmerman Bertosi. Andrew Brihani. Sushi Parajuli. Obina Anthony Agwu. Shashwat Jain. Jaskaran Kahar. Adhirath Patel. Sanjula Karanan. Mahili Gradimi. Jorge Arturo Claris Pastrana. Haley Brooke Bonnell Miller. Jamie Grace Plodsick. Hannah Ruth Burkholder. Rebecca Vick. Nicole Catan Ebrio. Rebecca Helena Kluecki. Emily Blair Mitterer. Anna Grace Hauer. Ashley Gordon Gibson. Mekashan Minty. Srijit Halder. Samaya Rastochi. Ujval Samir Mehta. Siddharth Jain. Ayush Katordvidi. Surendrakaban Thapa. Rishab Rastoji. Zach Hershey. Sherry Liang. Nick Richards. Ian Harnett. Stanley Logan Smeltzer. Matthew Saffron. Tyler Anthony Pazukricki. Christopher Joseph Palucci. Nathan Daniel Lowry. Sabin Dahal. Gitanish Katrina. Maithri Daita. Aisha Javid Sheikh. Shivanhi Batina. Mansi Darman Drakumar Suthar. Afrida Afraz Rahman. Tugba Iljan. Arim Caesar. Dalik Tanri Kulu. Megana Hala. Vijay Bahalaji. Sadith Mandrava. Manish Reddy Triparthi. Hushra Verdradhan Reddy Banthu. Bharath Kumar Reddy Kosuluru. Andrudeep Reddy Gunkada. Ashrith Rajavendra Madalana. Manichantura Maji. Winnie Sharamuth Arataya. Paywan Reddy. Sharibrath Singh. Ketki Vivek Fordse. 4K. Summit Keshari. Herna Servisa Bhagavarapu. Swati Adahiri. Mali Ray Schilling. Xiaojin Lu. Yim-Ing Tran. Sim-Ing Zin. Aaron George. Thomas Ragsdale. Zhu Pan. Jia Hua Duck Huang. Lin Chun Lin. Dina Tabalat. Laith Al Joani. Noam Bendelak. Ali Noman. Azad Fayuzu. Aman Jin. Tanvi Garj. Prayas Sanjay Hanche. Christopher Ruitt. Elisa David. Maria Alejandra Segura Betancourt. Rebecca Heth. Faith Elizabeth Howard. Gabrielle Ann Peterson. David George Norfleet. Sophie Sonier. Sean Jung. Adrian Siementhal. Raheel S. Akhtar. Joel Anglister. Lucas Frankie. Kunal Aghira. Andrew Imholt. Miles Phillips. Bryson Huffman Ford. Zaki Abdul Kadir. Pranav Raj Prakash. Garur Preet Vyas. Samil Yugesh Joshi. Asmita Anil Deshmukh. Sumradhi Santosh Chavan. Sahil Dargan. Dhruv Sharma. Emily Nicole Adams. Anil Rudit Sri Kana. Manisa Anhil Sankhe. Salmaya Jain. Yash Nikin Gathani. Adesh Niraj Agrawal. Parth Daval Sanghavi. Ashmita Padamakar Hanchat. Daniel Jacob Putnam. Anhithala Valavan. Atvit Kelkar. Rifat Sabir Mansour. Samran Sumaya Suda. Nasmul Huda. Kunjan Barua. Kandakar Muhammad Mohidin Ikram.
Well, you've already got a bachelor's degree, so it's on the left.
Alexa Megan.
Well, you don't have to do anything. We're going to give you a degree.
Grace Butcher. Isabella Wilder. Devin Mary Quinn. Maxwell Charles Yeager. Sid Negus IV. Alec Finstermacher. George Maragos. Colin O'Reilly. Xander Marlette. Aiden Smith. Hannah Davis. Emily Larrick. Ellie Rule. Bowman Raskin. Layla Hussein S. Al-Busalam. Marks Veal Wang. Keanu Lee. Leo Stone. Vineet Ashkabar Masrani. Rohan Anval Gupta. Pierre Dominos Sarvabamun. Nicholas Leonardo Rains. Jonah Barrett Mattern Bishop. Gabe Giudici. Matthew Norman Jackson. Pooja Panchatari Gudamath. Nidhi Priya. Rutuja Muralidhar Taware. Monish Raj Raghu. Manos Prabhakar P. Parthi. Chavi Yosha Swastik Shunaram. Martha Stevens. Miriam Mansour. Miles Woodson Spence. Sissy Lee Mean. Ryan Stanaland. Bella Brand. Jason Stiefalter.
Shreya Malhotra. Rebecca DeCipio. Eric Matthew Link. Kiran Beaumont, Vikas Krishnan Radhakrishnan, Kai Alexander Hagman, Sharan Srinivasan, Sharan Sharma, Nishchay Tapan Patel, Arjun Sharma, Pallavi Padmanabha, Garang Ajit Karwande, Radhika Gurudas Nibande, Poonam Gupta, Dakshita Jena, Neil Chaitan Gada, Ayush Manish Shah, Aditya Ashish Kumar Shah, Abhijit Tripathi, Veera Venkata Satya Durga Transasekar Padala, Darshan Vakaria, Nivishri Pavanan, Anish Reddy Elor, Sai Venkat, Ryan Maxey, Harita Jnanasegar, Saumiya Mutharangan, Alisa Jorgensen, Kathleen Georgie, Carson Gale Bailey, Chris Vaughn, Kirtan Ajay Desai, Tanvi V. Khosla, Kahan Mahesh Gadia, Jayesh Ved Prakash Pandey, Rachel Lane, Tiffany Josephine Score, James Neil McGurk, Mo Jia, Michael James Siebert, Taylor Welch, Allie Lawson, Annie Fentress, Mackenzie O'Connell Abed, Dominique Ariana Villani, Kylie Joelle Andriano, Sarah Fry, Claudia Sofia Mendez Martinez, Carly Elliott, Laura Bruckner, Matthew Irwin, Chirag Dinesh, Preet Deepak Jawani, Ankit Nandlal Krishnani, Ame Anup Bedmuta, Omkar Ashok Tawade, Daksh Vora, Ameya Arun Kale, Janil Manaj Rashiwala, Pallavi Kishore Sisodia, Madhulika Sandeep Sable, Rachana Ganesh Shenoy, Shipra Gandhi, Purva Mali, Divyendu Tushar, Rathvik Janardhan Reddy, Charmi Praful Gajar, Ruja Patel, Rudvik Chada, Omar Talaksi, Brad Tunks, Sarah Edwards, Teji Anna, Caitlin Sharkey, Lindsay Fairbanks, Tabi Pagan, Tara Ann Davis Long, Autumn Lily Kirchner Weidman, Mia Williams, Natalie Martin, Allison Toller, Sarah Dixon, Melinda Yaboa, Sydney Nicole Spivey, Chloe Christine Brooks, Jordan Tilley, Laurel Elizabeth Miller, Olivia Erim, Thomas Welch, Jake Edward Foates, Sam Rogers, Philip George Miskovic, Rosamund Ben, Sydney Renee Kerner, Allison Winifred Henry, Melissa Elaine Frazee, Alexandra Marie Crawford, Bailey Rayanne Steele, Sarah Miller, Will Boyd, Ella Rock, Adriana Brooke Fratz, Eric Britton, Joseph David Keller, Kevin Merton, Susanna Young, Rachel Elizabeth Pattern Nunn, Bashair Saad Al-Matani, Daniela Hofer, Soni Gimiri, Henry Mitchell, Chi Yi Lee, Joseph Ding, Ying Feng Fang, Gaping Chen, Sakshi Pranay Tauri, Peng Wang, Tianbo Lu, Deval Srivastava, Swati Loda, Aditi Gupta, Mayank Agrawal, Apurv Garg, Elena May Lee, Haley Amanda Kraft, Ryan Gottwald, Nathan Allen Folta, Sai Sanath Krishna Pagari, Uma Gunturi, Bhagya Rishurup Boda, Janet Hay, Sindhu Vishnavi Samala, Sri Sai Asrif Atukuri, Rohit Reddy Bandaru, Sri Hari Priya Bellam, Sai Deepak Gatidi, Amit Reddy Nala Venkat, Sai Anish Chintulapudi, Uday Kiran Podugu, Vishnu Rohit Karanam, Pratik Kamili, Shashank Vidyala, Nihita Virimachaneni, Venkatesh Elabonya, Sarah Crimmins, Duncan Langley Lambert, Alex Fuller, David Kennedy, Brandon Madiyin, Rakab Singh, Nicholas James Tremoroli, Brennan George, Lu Yi Wang, Sagar Sorti, Anisha Pokrel, Zi Mang, Xin Wen Liang, Xiao Chun Wang, Wen Yu Li, Meghana Mudunuri, Hiawei Zhao, Edward Lee, Ashawini Chudaman Thakur, Pradnya Yogesh Surkutwar, Sumukh Sukant Bapat, Arnav Chabra, Nikhil Anant Kandari, Hark B. Chand, Miragang Dhingra, Pratik Krishnakant Nalagi, Denise I. Temiz, Manasa Vatsavai, Sonia Chadari, Neela Masru, Dave Whitfield, Jr. Gabby Schmidt. Nora Haig. Lakshmi Medhavan Miller. Luke Lee Jordan. Divya Bambore Ekanath. Aditya Raj Roshan. Aidi Ung. Rashna Pandit. Zizu Ryu. Bibek Sharma. Megan Van Spanji.
While we wait for those individuals to get their picture, congratulations. I want to ask everyone just one last time to thank all of the people in the stands who have supported you throughout your entire journey. There'll be just 1 minute until we get some of our pictures done. Thank you.
Let me add my congratulations to the graduates. What an impressive group of graduates. So many. We're so proud of all of you. A special thanks to Dr. Marola and Dr. Myers as the readers of names, to the faculty and staff ushers and marshals, to Haley Hansen and the members of the Virginia Tech Wind Ensemble for their part in this afternoon's ceremony. Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask you to please stand until the stage party has recessed. With the recessional, our ceremony will be concluded. Thank you for joining us and have a
today's honor.